Thank you all so very much for that. We always have to give our country, the due respect that it deserves. As a unique country, one of a kind on the planet Earth. Thank you so very much. Once again, I welcome you all to this Renewed Hope Global Town Hall Conference. Today, as usual, is another special edition of our weekly virtual conference in 2025. And following the huge success that we had last year, where we brought to you so many of our leaders, from ministers to DGs, executive chairmen and executive secretaries, as well as special advisors to the president, we promised you a better 2025. And boy, we have, to the glory of God, we've been able to deliver as usual. And today is no exception. In fact, today for me, personally, is even more special for obvious reasons that I will be revealing much later. Today's conference is, like I said, it's another special edition, as we will be engaging with one of our leaders who is no other person than the Iron Lady of NAFDAC, Professor Moji Adeyeye, the Director General of the National Agency for Drugs and Administration and Control, NAFDAC. My co-hosts for today, as usual, are Honorable Jacob Ogushe, Hajia Rekia Bello Abakar, Udeme Ukwe, Sheumbayewu, and Tosi Olayinka, who will be assisting me as usual in moderating today's conference to ensure we have a smooth and uninterrupted deliberation. And as usual, the conference is streaming live across social media and especially on Ben TV, courtesy of the CEO of the first Nigerian African TV digital channel, led by its CEO, Alistair Shorty. Many thanks, sir, for always being there for us. And just looking through the conference today, I can see, as usual, we always have new faces every week joining us. Thank you so very much for being part of this. And the usual suspects, as I would like to call them, people who, through thick and thin, are always with us. Every week, without being tired, they're always with us. Thank you so immensely. We don't take your, we have never and will never take your support lightly. Thank you ever so much. In the meantime, on behalf of the team behind the Renewed Hope Global, I welcome you all to today's session. And like I said earlier on, we have in our midst already, and I'm glad to say, you see, like I've always said it, this Renewed Hope regime that we have now seem to have a crop of leaders who seem to know their responsibilities as leaders. Every week they come and they join this conference even before we started. Same thing with the Iron Lady of NAFDAC. She's been with us now for, I don't know, maybe about 20 or 30 minutes now. Even before some of the participants joined, she has been with us. And so for that, we remain ever so grateful to our special guest for today. Thank you so very much, madam. You are really appreciated. Again, the topic for today, like you've all seen on social media, is tackling fake drugs and pharmaceuticals with innovation, enforcement, and strengthened regulations. This platform, as we have all come to know, was set up as a veritable vehicle for interaction between Nigerians across the globe and our leaders in Nigeria. These are the people that hold the apron strings of our country and are steering the ship of our fatherland with a view to enlightening our people regarding the inner workings of the administration of the day. Today, as always, we will be exploring another segment of President Tinubu's vision and policies in an interactive interview with one of the big shots within the government who will be dissecting President Tinubu's administration, shedding light on its significant achievements and forward-looking plans as encapsulated in the Renewed Hope agenda upon which the president campaigned, and we all gave him the mandate, as well as the golden keys to Astor Villa on the 25th of February, 2023. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce to the whole world that our special guest of honor for today has joined the conference. In fact, she's been here before many of us joined. Thank you ever so much. So our special guest, like I said earlier on, is the Iron Lady of NAFDAC. I call her Iron Lady, and that's, for me, you will know the reason why I call her Iron Lady, why we go along while we go through the process, because she's done a hell of a lot as the DG. She is no other person than Professor Moji Adeyeye. I hope I pronounced that name right. Professor Moji Adeyeye. She's the Director General of the National Agency for Drugs and Administration of Drugs and Administration Control, NAFDAC. So for us to kickstart the conference, please permit me to read out the profile of our special guest, because we need to know who is it we brought to you, so that you have an import of her importance and why she was headhunted by the president to head that agency. Professor Mojisola Adeyeye is the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, where she has led a transformative agenda focused on strong governance, regulatory system strengthening, and advancing local pharmaceutical manufacturing through adherence to international best practices. Under her leadership, NAFDAC has transitioned from insolvency to financial stability, evolving into a standard operating procedure-driven organization committed to global regulatory standards and best practices. She has reshaped the agency's culture, making it customer-focused and results-oriented to safeguard public health. Her visionary leadership has led to significant international recognitions, including ISO 9001 in 2025, certification in 2029 with yearly certifications, and the WHO Maturity Level 3 ISO 900 certification in 2022, which has positioned NAFDAC as a well-functioning regulatory authority. Professor Adeyeye has been instrumental in strengthening Nigeria's pharmaceutical sector, culminating in the first ever WHO pre-qualification of a pediatric product manufactured in West Africa and Central Africa, an important milestone for local drug production. She has introduced several initiatives to expand access to high-quality medicines, including the 5+5 policy promoting local manufacturing, the expansion of NAFDAC's ceiling list to 34 products, and the establishment of new policies to encourage pharmaceutical plant development in Nigeria. Her leadership has ensured compliance with good manufacturing practices, GMP, and good distribution practices, GDP, through centralized GMP inspections, further cementing the credibility of the industry. In her commitment to modernizing regulatory processes, she has pioneered reforms such as strengthening grassroots pharmacovigilance. I have to be very careful with that. Pharmacovigilance, expanding risk-based post-marketing surveillance, and introducing the dossier management system, DMS, a digital platform that streamlines regulatory submissions. Her drive for digital transformation has positioned Nigeria as a leader in Africa, particularly in developing and using the GSI-driven traceability information system to track COVID-19 vaccines and essential medicines, mitigating the circulation of substandard and falsified drugs. Her restructuring efforts have set the stage for NAFDAC's transition toward WHO Maturity Level 4, ML4, a world-listed authority, WLA status, further establishing Nigeria as a global regulatory leader. Wow. Beyond pharmaceuticals, Professor Adeyeye has strengthened food safety regulations and emphasized evidence-based chemical and pesticide management to enhance public health. She also established the Nigerian Herbal Medicine Product Committee, HMPC, to foster collaboration between herbal practitioners and academic researchers, ensuring the commercialization of alternative medicines through rigorous research and regulation. Her leadership extends beyond Nigeria, as she has served as the chair of the steering committee of the African Medicines Regulatory Harmonization, AMRH, and the WHO stands for World Health Organization, for those who don't understand it. And the WHO-based Global Pediatric Regulatory Network. She represents the International Coalition of Medicines Regulatory Authority, ICMRA, and has been appointed to the WHO Regional Expert Advisory Committee on Traditional Medicine for COVID-19. She is a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science, the Nigerian Academy of Pharmacy, and an academic research fellow of the American Association of Colleges and Pharmacy, AACP. Notably, she is the first African woman to be named a fellow of the American Association of Pharmaceutical Scientists, AAPS, an honor awarded to only 3% of academia worldwide. Wow, again. Professor Adeyeye has had an illustrious academic career as Professor Emeritus of Pharmaceutics and Drug Product Evaluation at Roosevelt University, Illinois, USA, where she was also the founding chair of Biopharmaceutical Sciences. She previously spent 21 years as a professor of pharmaceutics, and manufacturing at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, PSA, USA. I hope I pronounced that right. Duquesne. Okay, yes. Duquesne University in Pittsburgh. Apology for that, man. It's just, the way it spells it gives me a bit of a problem. Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, PA, USA, and is a senior Fulbright scholar and specialist. She holds a BSc from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and MS and PhD degrees from the University of Georgia, Athens, USA. Her research expertise spans quality by driven QBD in early phase drug development and manufacturing, regulatory science, bench-to-bedside translation research, and pharmaceutical R&D, including investigational new drug IND applications. She has mentored over 15 PhD and MS candidates. She has an impressive academic portfolio, no doubt, including 5 patents, 65 peer-reviewed publications, book chapters, and books. And I thought I was as an author. Wow. And more than 160 scientific presentations. Professor Adeyeye continues to drive global pharmaceutical innovation, regulatory excellence, and public transformation. That, in a nutshell, is the profile of our special guest for today, whom I doff my hat to. Thank you so very much, madam, and welcome to the Renewed Hope Global Virtual Town Hall Conference. Once again, our main topic for today remains tackling fake drugs and pharmaceuticals with innovation, enforcement, and strengthened regulations. So I will be, as usual, madam, I will be the first to fire the first salvo of questions before yielding the floor to our participants. Normally, I like to root my questions within the theme for the day, which is tackling fake drugs and pharmaceuticals with innovation, enforcement, and strengthened regulation. And my question for you, madam, will be in 2 folds. Firstly, we would like you to keep Nigerians across the globe up to speed with a general overview of what NAFDAC is all about. That's point number 1. And secondly, because of what has been trending in the past couple of weeks, on the issue of current situation with the closure of some markets in Nigeria due to the discovery of fake and illicit drugs found in those markets, a lot has been written and positions have been taken by some people based on their individual perspectives on the matter. You, as the DG of NAFDAC, is the only person that I believe can give Nigerians the true picture of the situation. And that is one of the reasons I thank you immensely for accepting to come on whilst the issue is still trending. I believe that there is no better platform than this to enlighten the world regarding what I consider a menace that needs to be stamped out of our society. And before you answer the question, I just need to big you up to say, as far as I'm concerned, you've done a very good job. We had a woman there before, and I think in the wisdom of the government in Nigeria, they seem to agree that it is women that has that willpower to be able to confront some people call them cabals, whose stock in trade is to destroy our community and our country. And the late Dora Akuile did have her possible best. I doff my hat for her too. And you have even taken that 2 or 3 notches up. So that's one of the reasons why we decided to come and knock on your door to say, Madam, can you please come? Because a lot has been said about what happened last week and the week after. Because I remember it's just not on Onitsha alone that you've closed shops. You've done that across, so even Lagos, Idumota, a market was closed there. So, which belies the kind of perception some people have that this is kind of sectional. So for that, I know I understand lately that there's been some death threats for you. We'll come to that later on. I believe that they will need. Let me speak that to you so that you understand what I'm talking about. But look, because God has your back, madam. You are doing a good job trying to safeguard the country, and whoever has some ulterior motives to destroy the country will never succeed. So those are my 2 questions, man. What is the overview? Just give us a brief overview of NAFDAC and give us the nitty-gritty of what led to the closures of these markets. So you have the floor now, ma'am. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for inviting me to this forum. NAFDAC's mandate is to regulate and control the importation, exportation, manufacture, distribution, advertisement, sale, and use of 7 regulated products that include medicines, foods, cosmetics, medical devices, packaged water, detergents, and so on. It is an agency that I met with only the roof on the building.
Wow.
3.7 billion naira debt. No single director had a laptop in 2017. I resumed November 30, 2017. 70 to 80% of the equipment were not functioning. Companies were sending vehicles to NAFDAC to come and inspect. And we know what happens if a company sends a vehicle to come and inspect them. So this was what I met. And in my resumption speech, I gave an example of what I know I was going to face. I just didn't know the depth of what I was going to face. I knew that the country that I left 37 years before was no longer the country that I met in 2017 because of proliferation of bad medicines. And I used the example of my friend's child. They are from the East. They came for holidays, I think 2014, 2013. And Okechi was ill during the travel and they bought medicine. They were in Enugu, I believe, because they end up in UNTH. Okechi almost died until somebody said it may be the medicine. So they went to buy the right medicine, or the same medicine, but from the right source. Okechi survived. I mentioned that at my resumption speech, November 30, 2017. So because I want to relate that to what is happening now. However, to be able to fight that war against substandard falsified medicines you cannot use water. The agency was infested with corruption. There was no money. Therefore, I have to start from bottom up. We started retraining ourselves. How to think of the customer first before the pocket. And it shouldn't even be before any pocket. Your salary should go into your pocket, not somebody else's gratification. So we started building. We were trained in quality management system, which, as God will have it, I had that experience when I was at Duquesne University. Because the president that came just before my time there in 1989 met a university that was bankrupt. And he said that by the time he leaves, it will take a genius to bankrupt that university again. To do that, we have to wash our brain as a university. So we started quality management system training. That was 1989. We can now extrapolate it to 2017. More than 30 years, or about 30 years before. That was what we started doing. We started training ourselves, asking people from outside, so that we can get ISO 9001, thinking of customer first, and using standard operating procedure, doing self-audit, using mirror every year to see ourselves. What did we do better last year? What can we do better next year? We have done that since 2019 when we got ISO 9001. And we have been doing self-audit and reassessing ourselves through the external auditor. So we have been recertified since 2019 in ISO 9001. At the same time, we have to lay the foundation. And what we can use to lay that foundation is this quality system, thinking of quality, and the user, the end user. So we started the WHO Global Benchmarking. For WHO Global Benchmarking, there are 9 modules. One of them is registration or market authorization. One is market control. Market control is what we are doing right now. One is pharmacovigilance. Another is laboratory testing. Another is regulatory inspection. Another is license establishment, which is Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. We were benchmarked together. We had 8 modules. Pharmacy Council had 1 module. And lot release, vaccine lot. So we had to build the foundation before we can build a house, because there was no house left. So when people think that maybe NAFDAC was a little slow or what, no, we had to build a system. There was no system at all since NAFDAC was created. It's just taking one here, taking that. Hopefully it will work well. It will take, yes, it did work well in few occasions, but there was no system, no foundation. So we started what is called National Action Plan to mitigate substandard falsified medicines. And then we renewed that 2023, 2027. And that National Action Plan is to use, prevent, detect, and respond. How do you prevent substandard falsified medicines? How do you detect? When you detect, what is your response as a regulatory agency? We'll be moving along in terms, we have a very strong enforcement directorate, investigation and enforcement. It is also the head or the headquarters of the Federal Task Force that is backed by C-34 bill. So we started doing, as we were improving, because you cannot get all the money overnight. The government supports us with salary. Almost all, we have to raise funds for ourselves. In fact, when I mentioned 2018, thereabout, that 70 to 80% of our equipment were not working, somebody called me for the presidency. So, what did you say, 70 to 80%? And President Buhari gave us 700 and something million. in 2018 to start something. Because what we need in the labs, we have 7 labs, billions and billions, because one equipment at that time, when Naira was very strong, 300 million Naira, one equipment, and we have 7 labs, and we have many equipments. But what my point is that we were building as we were going along. But in terms of enforcement, we kept improving ourselves every year. And I want to bring what we are doing now into focus. About 3 or 4 years ago, we went to Onitsha based on intelligence that in the plumbing section of the Onitsha market, there are drugs that are being dealt, that people are dealing with there. As a federal task force headquarters, we have a squad of policemen, MOPO. We went with some of the MOPO and our officers, and they escaped death narrowly.
Wow.
They escaped death narrowly. So we have to withdraw. But we keep going, doing all the things that we needed to do to build the system. Then last year, around June or July last year, some of our staff went for inspection and they bloodied them. They escaped narrowly, they would have been killed. That was when I knew that we cannot use just regular forces. Shortly before this incident, we had the open market in Kano that has been there forever. But Governor Ganduje built what is called the Coordinated Wholesale Center, which the Presidential Commission, before my time, said that NAFDAC and Pharmacy Council of Nigeria should be in charge of, to move open marketers to a coordinated wholesale center where the regulators can oversee them and inspect them. So that drug mall was built in Kano. Now to move the open marketers, we had to use about 150 forces. And they rioted, they almost killed the lawyer of Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. Pharmacy Council of Nigeria is in charge of registration of sites. We are in charge of enforcing and making sure there's quality in the product. So, George Ameboda, bless his soul, was the one that said he has had enough, not even knowing that BBC is going to do an expose last week, that he has had enough of drugs destroying lives in Kano. So the open marketers that have taken PCL to court for 10 years, he told them, enough is enough, you're going to coordinated wholesale center. That was when we started planning what is people are seeing now. It took us a year to plan what we are doing right now, because my predecessor has done it before, but there was really no foundation in the agency that could make it to be sustainable. So we started planning, and as God will have it, I started making strategic partnership. Customs, NSA. NSA has been working with us from the beginning, but I had to make that partnership stronger. And I thank God for President Tinubu, because he can think. He knows tools that he can use to achieve ABCD. We were in the trenches together during the military years. We were in NADECO together from overseas.
Yeah.
So it's the best opportunity that Nigeria has. His time is the best opportunity Nigeria has. Why? Because I know what he can do. Because I know what drives him. So I wasn't surprised that he chose NSA to be NSA, because I could easily relate to him. And we started planning and planning, endless hours or whatever, you know. Only myself, my director of investigation and enforcement, and the director zonal director in Southeast. Those were the three. Because we needed to keep it tight. Because the lives of our people depend on it.
Yes.
So we struck February 9 in the night with 1,100 security forces given to us by NSA. 250 in Lagos for Idumota, 400 in Onitsha, and 350 in Aba. Bear in mind, we have been doing many things on our own without so many forces before, but the strength of what we know we're going to face with drugs, it was too high. We were in Eziuku Market in Aba in 2023, December, to raid those that were falsifying drinks, killing Nigerians with early death, with kidney problems. We did the same raid in 2024, December. So we had already been slowly being immunized to know what we are going to do. But we underestimated what we were going to face. Bear in mind, this is our own national action plan as an agency, is part of our regulatory system strengthening, without which in 10 years' time, 5 years' time, or whatever, nobody will know that, oh, it has gone, it has gone. But we are building a system. But we underestimated what we were going to find. We thought it's only 1 week. But what we saw, what I saw in Idumota, where I visited, blew my mind up. But that paled compared to what we are seeing now in Onitsha. In total, we have evacuated about 100 40-foot containers, 40-foot truckloads, about 100 40-foot trucks of medicines that are banned, unregistered, expired, narcotics. One of the narcotics is, we saw a lot of the type of narcotics that will make a child to go useless. That is the tapentadol and coriprosidol. That is called Royal 225. Royal 225. It has been destroying our young people in West Africa. We saw a lot of it. I was talking with some of my directors this morning, and they said tramadol in Onitsha at right now about 10 40-foot truckloads. Tramadol. And when you add codeine and all those that have been banned, they said it's about 14 or 15 truckloads. This is easily, can be easily used to destabilize a country. That is why NAFDAC has to be regarded as a security agency. We also control the chemicals that can be used as precursors to make bombs. That is part of the reason why NSA knew that NAFDAC has to be taken into their fold in terms of security of this country. We have screened and shut down 3,027 shops in Idumota. We have screened and shut down 1,329 in Aba. In Onitsha, as of yesterday or 2 days ago, we have gone over maybe almost 3,000 now. Because the number of medicine shops in Aba is about 4,000. But that, I would say that is just a cloak. Because where we are finding warehouses are in the plumbing sections, in the wood plank sections, a whole house filled with expired, banned narcotics, name them. Keg of gunpowder. But this gunpowder is not going boom at the same time. It's killing people slowly. Killing people slowly. I met a senator at the lounge, airport lounge in Lagos. And he said he has hypertension. And I don't know where he bought it. Amlodipine. He was using it twice a day. The blood pressure never went down. And then he got prescription from somewhere else. That is very, very good source. Now, instead of twice a day, he's now using 10 milligrams once a day, and the blood pressure has gone down. He said he has lost 3 brothers as a result of blood pressure. Blood pressure doesn't kill if you manage it very well. We cannot count millions that have died in this country. That is why it is not about, disturbing trade. No, I love trade. But we cannot be killing our people in the name of trade. So in total now, we've at least 8,000 shops. We have about 20% more to go in Onitsha. We've already finished the enforcement in Idumota and in Naba. We had to close the whole shop, the whole market down. Those that were selling something that doesn't have anything to do with NAFDAC, we have now reopened those shops in Idumota and in Naba. And we are handing out undertakings to those that have violated our regulations, and also the fines that they're going to pay. And we are planning with Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, that is in charge of sites, to see how we are going to manage these shoppers to be ready to be relocated. For Lagos, the coordinated sales center is about to start. They're about to start construction. For Onitsha, Governor Soludo announced that they are building one. They're going to be building one in Ogba. So within a year, he said that he's going to move all the shoppers, and they have to now be registered legally. Where we're going, and it may not be all of them. I shouldn't say all the shoppers, because there are some that we can never be registered because they don't even know what they are doing. They're just doing trade, like you are selling clothes. And for Aba, Governor Oti has supported us, even with the food, the wine or beverage markets in the last 2 years. And I believe he's going to be planning the coordinated wholesale center as a PPP or whatever, because that's what the coordinated wholesale centers the way they are being formed is PPP, government and private. So this is what we are doing, but it's not a one-off. It has to be sustained. Yeah. And it couldn't have been sustained, or we couldn't have been thinking logically without a foundation that we are still building on. You mentioned maturity level 3. We got maturity level 3 March of 2022. And when we got it, we were the 3rd country in Africa to get maturity level 3 in medicines. Egypt and South Africa, they have it for vaccines. Our Yaba lab in 2023 became pre-qualified lab. And we have been on it for years, trying to improve ourselves, but you cannot improve if you don't have money. You have to have equipment, you have to know how to calibrate, how to qualify them, and so a lot of things are happening. Before my time, there was no company with pre-qualification. And I told them, I said, we have to use international standards in order to get there. It was tough for them. They weren't used to it. But, management, people management. And we started supporting them, our companies. By the way, in 2018, we did a roadmap for all our companies, 165 companies, to see whether they are GMP compliant or not. That led to risk categorization of our companies. Those that met the mark in 2018, 2019, only one was in low risk, only one. Now about 15 are in low risk. In 2018, 2019, only about 5 or 10 were in medium risk. Now we have about 20, 25 in medium risk. The ones that are high risk, they are trying to get to medium risk. The medium risk are trying to get to low risk. That is quality for our people. That is confidence in the medicine that our people use. There were some companies that we shut down right from the beginning when we did this roadmap. They were irredeemable because our people first. And since then, we have not let down our oars. We have been doing yearly inspection or six months inspection, depending on your categorization. If we get a wind that a company is not doing well, we go there within 2 hours. If we have to shut them down, we shut them down. Why? Because of force. Why? Because we matter. Our health matters. We cannot be dying slowly. We cannot be dying with morbidity. Not really, you have hypertension. It's not the end of the world. You can control it. You have diabetes, you can control it. But if you don't use the right medicine, there's no way. So that is what we have been doing. And we are going to, why this maturity level 3, 4 are important is because we are part of the world. And we're supposed to be trading to increase our GDP, to reduce unemployment. Aside from giving confidence to the consumer, that's the first one, public health. With our maturity level 3, if we get WHO listed authority recognition, any product we approve in Nigeria can be sold worldwide. Any product we approve after that recognition can be sold worldwide. That is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has in mind with the executive order. Because our manufacturers are so stretched for funds, they import everything except water. So the executive order says levy, custom duty, all this will be forgiven. Bring your products, your materials in, raw materials and equipment in, but show us what you're going to do. We've been working hard at that through the PVAC office of Ministry of Health. This is what is going to save us from ourselves, because we have been dependent, we have been addicted to importation. We have been addicted to donation. There's nothing wrong in getting donation, but if you're addicted to donation, you won't be able to think.
Yeah, it's true.
So President Tinubu has done what no other president has done. Executive order. But we have wet the ground. NAFDAC has wet the ground with our 5+5. What is 5+5? You have been importing, we'll be giving you 5 years renewal forever. What we did in March 2019 is that 5 years forever is the first 5 in the 5+5. We will now give you the last 5 years renewal. And we didn't do that foolishly. We did a survey. What are the top 5 medicines that are imported? What are the top 5 medicines that are manufactured? They are the same. So if what we are importing is the same with what we are being produced locally, then we put 5+5. That all those medicines that fall into that category, you cannot. You have to, that renewal year, 5 years, at the end of your 7th year, you must tell us how you're going to migrate to local manufacturing. If you cannot migrate to local manufacturing, how you can partner and do contract manufacturing. As a result of that, about 24 new companies, 66 companies under construction as we speak, both new and old, new as a result of 5+5, and old trying to retrofit their old companies. There are some older companies that completely abandoned their facility. And during President Buhari, well, because of the pandemic, they knew that the health sector was completely neglected. So I did midwifery or midwifing between companies and CBN, because we know the companies that are capable of using the money reasonably because of their compliance, not because I know anything about their bank accounts, but they then use our own technical data with whatever banking information they will get to give these companies money to do infrastructure at a reduced rate, loan at a reduced rate. So that has helped greatly. And what President Tinubu is doing now is going to help even more, because the levy, the custom duty, and all those things are being removed temporarily. So in terms of the enforcement we are doing, this is cleaning of the house. And it's because I know that I have backing. Stood with us, 1,100 forces. Never in our history has that taken place. I hope I answer your question.
Oh, you didn't just answer my question, you bowled me over with all the information, that because I'm more or less like overwhelmed with everything, because I was taking note of what you were saying, and at some point I lost my rhythm, trying to catch up with you. For that, I have to say thank you so very much. I think whilst listening to you, I kept thinking in my head that I think we have to give the president is it 3 or 7 bosas for
7 bosas.
Yes, 7 bosas, because he has been accredited to know how to headhunt the right people for the right job.
And I have to thank him. First of all, I have to thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because he has a choice. He had a choice.
Yes. Yeah.
He could have chosen another person.
Yeah. Yeah.
He gave me the opportunity to make whatever we started in 2017 to be sustainable. If not, all the efforts that we did up to 2022 will have crashed, because I knew what went on during the 3 months or 2 months that I was in between reappointment. So 7 bosas for him.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. I think it's not just down to the president alone. I think it's down to you too, because it is one thing for the president to give you all the wherewithal for you to perform. And I think the real nitty-gritty of performance lies with the person in charge. And I think that is where you come in. And I was thinking in my head that this is another diasporan that was brought in from outside Nigeria. And we've had a couple of them on this program who have shown Nigerians how to do things differently. Because, there's this saying that you cannot continue to do things the same way and expect different results. And I bless God for the fact that the few that has been chosen from diaspora, every single one of them that I know, one of them used to be my deputy here in the UK. He's been doing fantastically well with the ECN. Now you are another one. We had another one again. I can't remember his name now. We had one a couple of weeks ago who again came from diaspora. Every single one of you has done us proud. So for that, I have to say thank you so very much, madam, because your job is by no means easy. It is you are treading on a very dangerous terrain. And I think it is shown now with the death threat that's been shown on you. And that was why I prayed in Yoruba earlier, because we are all both Yoruba. So I wanted to speak to our God in our own language. And I'll continue to say that, because God has your back. And I believe the presidency knew what he was doing when he came in to say, look, I'm going to retain this woman because I know she knows what she's doing. And from what you've done so far now, if you're not doing anything good, there wouldn't be any death threat on you, madam. Do you think so? So the fact that there's a death threat on you, that shows you are doing something good. So I just want to encourage you, and I believe every single Nigerian across the world are doing the same now, encouraging you to say, you know what, don't look back. Trust me, God has your back. And because the country has been, a lot of things have been happening in the country, and many people, past leaders have been glossing over it. And I keep saying it on this program, that the reason why God brought our current president now is because God wants to reverse all the anomalies in the country. And thank God he's been doing the needful to make sure that he resets the country and set the country on a better trajectory to progress. And so far, he's been putting people, what's it called again? Square pegs in square holes. So thank you so very much, madam. I don't want to. I don't want to bore everybody with my review of your, because your opening response for me, it's like I said, bowled me over and overwhelmed me. So let's move on because I can go on and on and on and on and on. Thank you so very much, man. I really appreciate it, and I bless God for your life. Thank you so very much. I think I'm just gonna now yield the floor to one of my because we've got a couple of hands up now. They are dying to ask you questions, and I knew that would happen even before we came on. So I'm gonna call on one of my deputy co-hosts, Honorable Udeme. You have the floor now. I would like you to take two questions, do a quick succession, and our special guest will answer those questions at once. Then we'll move on. Thank you so very much. Honorable Udeme, you have the floor now.
Thank you so much, my chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola, for your very fantastic job that you are doing to bridge the gap between the government and Nigerians in Nigeria and in the diaspora. Thank you again, Your Excellency, Professor Moji Adeyeye, the Director General of the National Agency for National Agency for Drug Administration and Control, Food Drug Administration and Control. Thank you so much for coming. We are really elated to have you. In fact, I was listening like a schoolboy how best you and the agency are really working tirelessly to ensure that the health and safety of Nigerians are intact. Thank you so much. I would want to take two questions before I hand over back to my chief host. Just briefly to our participants, you have because we have quite a few people that will be asking questions. Please limit your questions to 1 minute. If you can make your questions very concise, so that our special guests can give you the answer that you want in a very structured manner. I will be calling firstly Ayodeji Bakare. Ayodeji Bakare, can you please unmute Ayodeji Bakare? And please, Dr. Godwin Oyedele Oyediji, please be on standby. Ayodeji, you have the floor now. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much to Professor. Firstly, to everyone here, if you haven't watched the Opioid Kings on BBC, please go and watch it. It's on BBC Africa. It's eye-opening. And the Avio Pharmaceuticals have been banned from sending materials into Nigeria. So now, directly to Prof, what is the Nigerian government doing as regards its relations with India such that they do not bring those things in, those kind of contraband materials and substandard products into the country? Because I'm looking at it not from the standpoint of our customs. I'm looking at it from the bilateral trade aspect of things. So you go, I know Modi visited, Prime Minister Modi visited President Tinubu a couple of months ago. How can we use that as a leverage to stop those shipments coming in? Secondly, the people doing this organic creams and the likes, because I know, yes, we're talking about drugs here. However, NAFDAC is also over those creams and all of that stuff. What are we doing as regards trying to regularize them, with time? Because a lot of them are saying that there's so much lag and delay in registering them, and also the synergy between NAFDAC and Standards Organization of Nigeria. And third and finally, the food and beverages. It is a disaster. We need to see how we can, like she rightfully said, there needs to be a lot of money to be pumped in equipment so that we can do testing, calibration of this equipment and the likes. So those are my questions, but the main one is the interpersonal relationship, bilateral trade talks that can stop these materials coming in to Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bakare.
Yes,
they are all excellent questions. I just had a meeting with two of my directors. We're writing mails through NSA to different MDAs, to Foreign Affairs, because it is bilateral. You cannot use your trade to destroy our own people. That bilateral power is there. We're going to write letter because we have seen some of the confiscated goods, evacuated goods coming through Ethiopian Airlines. We're going to write another letter to Minister of Aviation. We have POCA, Proceeds of Crime Act. If an airline brings drugs that are found, that airline may forfeit their airplane. Proceeds of Crime Act. So we're going to be dealing with that, at that level. Governor Soludo reiterated this last week. He said these things don't fly into the country. They're not spirits. How did they get in? We now have better, stronger relationship with customs. So part of our own national action plan is to have strong partnerships internationally, within the country also, so that we can think together and we can all of us can point to the same negative outcomes, deadly outcomes that we have been seeing, so that we can change our ways. So in terms of our government and India, first of all, we've been doing this, but at maybe not at a higher level. We blacklist companies that make medicine that will kill us or that will not make us well. We have blacklisted some companies in the past. And we write to their embassies here that we are blacklisting these companies. So we have done that at the embassy level, but we are now going to do it at head of state level. Yes. So I hope that answers the question. Then in terms of organic creams or cosmetics in general, that has been a challenge for us because many of these people that use avocado and carrot and whatnot, they do it in their bedrooms, in their living rooms. And they have their friends, or circle of friends, that they will sell this to. And also, we have the internet trading that we now have to develop tools to use in monitoring. But that being said, we have revised our own regulation in terms of, and we have heightened our monitoring, our post-marketing surveillance for cosmetics in general. And we have invited these internet salespeople to NAFDAC to let them know that we are watching you. Pharmacy Council of Nigeria also has a mandate, or not mandate, requirements that you have to register if you want to do internet sale or whatever. You have to be a pharmacist. So all these things are being put in place. Another thing that we are going to do, we have what is called global listing for supermarkets. When supermarkets bring in their goods, they bring them in thousands. There is no way we can test thousands. But we have had it in our own system to do random testing.
Spot testing.
Spot testing. However, cosmetics are part of the foods that are being brought. So we are going to deaggregate cosmetics from the supermarket items that are being brought, because they go untested, generally speaking, except the spot testing. So these are the mechanisms that we are using in terms of cosmetics. We have reviewed our regulations. We have heightened actually our enforcement, post-marketing surveillance. We go to trade fairs. You cannot believe what we get when we go to rates, and that is why I don't understand, where are these people getting the money? Because we destroy millions and billions, and still. So your first question is very, very apt, in the sense that we may have to do bilateral.
Yes.
So, and then in terms of that the cosmetics people think that there's delay. For cosmetics, it's about 90 days, 100 days. But when you think of days to approve a product, you are assuming an ideal situation. An applicant submits the application. We will review and say, oh, this one needs to be, taken care of. This has to be supplied. This information is there, is not there. That information is not there. We call it compliance directive. Applicant may not return it for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. And when they are now saying, oh, we have submitted since last year, what happened since you submitted? That is one factor that causes delay. Another factor that causes delay is staff. We are short of staff. We are working, burning candles from both ends. We are supposed to have 5 times the number of staff that we have now. We have 2,000 staff. For each staff of NAFDAC, that staff has to cater for 120,000 Nigerians. If we have 238 million, and we have 2,000 staff, so one staff will have to cater to 120,000 Nigerians, or 119 Nigerians. So this is part of our challenge. Even for inspectors, we have to inspect. The fact that it's cosmetic doesn't mean we will not inspect, because something can be, the skin can be destroyed. Somebody can have cancer through absorption through the skin.
Absorption.
We lack staff. So that is one of the reasons for sometimes delay. The relationship between SUN. There was something that World Bank did about 5 years ago, and they said SUN and NAFDAC are the ones that delay businesses. Why? Because we don't like to keep to our lane in Nigeria. We want to do what others are doing. And also, the bills, as they were written, sometimes people don't know the power of words. Let me talk to you about SUN. They use product in their mandate, product, that they can do product. For us, product is finished pharmaceuticals, finished food, finished vaccine, finished, cosmetics. And SUN thought that they can do everything. No. They are supposed to make sure that the components that go into the final product are of standards. They are of standard. Components, not the product. But sometimes you will see SUN running after our water people. So that is part of the problem, overlapping. And there's, sometimes there is overlap, but face your own primary mandate. Leave the other ones to those that have that as primary mandate. But in Nigeria, we don't. That is a problem with SUN. And they called the two of us, the DGs, to Ministry of Health maybe about 6 months ago. Sometimes it's not the DGs, it's the civil servants. Because there was no problem between myself and my colleague, Dr. Okoro, I think it's Okoro, yes. But it is when the civil servants go, they want to generate revenue. And they start doing what NAFDAC is doing. We don't get into others because we have our hands full. But others want to do what we are doing. Because the way the bill was concocted or written, but they don't think outside the words and what is their primary responsibility. You mentioned beverages. We are bringing sanity into that, food and beverages. 2023, we destroy, I don't know whether we destroy, we closed down over 1,200 shops in Ezuku market. That is, it's a market.
Abia State. Ezuku.
They also do manufacturing of wines. For wines that are $700, they will be doing it using buckets, dirty water, saccharin, you know. So the one that we did in 2024, the shops are still permanently closed because Governor Oti is big in business, and he told them you have to do it legitimately. And that is part of what has worked for us in this raid. Governor Soludo, Governor Oti, of course, Governor Sanwo-Olu, they are all on the same page with us. They just want to be sure that those that are innocent will not be hurt, and we've already returned those back to their shops. Over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Ma. Thank you so much for that answer. In fact, I would admit that what your leadership of the agency, the NAFDAC agency, makes me not even worry when I go into shops to buy food, drugs, and some other things out there. I don't have to think, is this real? Is this fake? Because of the tireless work that you lead your agency to do. And for that, I would say thank you so much for that. I would take the next participant, Sunday Shoyinka. Please, admin, can you unmute Sunday Shoyinka before I would now hand over to our chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. Sunday, you have the floor now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. If you can give me the video too, that would be okay. Thank you very much. The first thing is I want to appreciate our special guest today, Professor Adeyeye. God bless you wonderfully, ma'am. In fact, the information you have given to us this afternoon is mind-blowing. And we can see what the current government is doing to ensure that things are done in the proper way. We really want to appreciate you for that. My own area of concern is in the area of foods that have been exported to the United Kingdom. Now, through Ghana, products that belong to Nigeria. Take, for instance, I will just take one, and that is the yam tuber. This is one of the things that could generate foreign exchange for the government of Nigeria. But because most of our products are not accredited within the international trade platform, particularly in the United Kingdom here, some of the products that are being exported are passing through Ghana, and they belong to Nigeria. They were produced in Nigeria. Majority of them were produced in the southwestern part of Nigeria, but they are brought to Ghana to be exported to the United Kingdom. And Ghana is the one profiting from the foreign exchange that is being generated from that area. I just want to know what the NAFDAC is doing or will be doing to make sure that those products are coming directly to the UK from Nigeria, when most of those who consume the products, they are equally Nigerians resident in the United Kingdom or in United States or in the Europe. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Shoyinka. This has been a gnawing issue for us in NAFDAC. Again, we have a mandate to control and regulate export and imports. We neglected, as an agency before my time, the export part. So in 2018, we resuscitated emphasis on exports. However, because we have to work with other agencies, MDAs, for a product that is or a product that is meant for exportation to be processed. Ministry of Agric, NAQS under Agric. When we started or resuscitated our own program, we made testing of anything that is going to be exported free, because we realized that we didn't do what we were supposed to do years before. However, because of compromise, our people would prefer to go around NAFDAC. Our own sensitization also may be blamed a little bit, because we need to sensitize them that you need to come to NAFDAC, because anything that is exported out, food, it is NAFDAC that they send the rejection note to, because other international bodies know NAFDAC as the regulatory agency. So we started increasing our own sensitization. Cocoa is one example. We've been having series of stakeholders meetings with different groups to sensitize them, to let them understand. And from what we have seen, the rejects compared to 2023, I believe, the rejects in 2024 has gone down. However, that's rejects. It saddens me that we have to go through Ghana, because it takes such a long time to process exportation in Nigeria. I'm talking generally. It may stay there at the port waiting for export, processing. Before it gets there, it has grown mold, or the yam is already spoiled. Whereas in Ghana, it is faster. So it is not just one agency. It is maybe 4 or 5 agencies. Because of what you are talking about, we started the Office of Trade and International Relations. Now we have changed it to International Strategic Partnership and Trade Office. Because I believe in trade. If it is well controlled, it is a soft way of getting money for the country. It's a good way, a best way of image making, made in Nigeria, made in this. And that is why we're glad that some of our products now are being exported, But it is, NEPC, customs, we've been having meetings with them. It's getting better now, but before everybody was working silo. We weren't coordinated, and our money started going to other countries, or other country, Ghana in this case. So in fact, we had a meeting with Minister of Trade, and Minister of Health about 2 months ago. Our own export regulation is awaiting comments now. In fact, it has already gone through one phase of comments. And we were advised that not many people read that regulation on our website, that we should give it to targeted MDAs or groups. So we are strengthening our own legal framework concerning exports, and we are explaining to our people that we don't test. If it's a product that is already approved through our own regular approval channel, it takes about 4 days to export, meaning this product has NAFDAC number. To process is about 4 days. If it is something that we now have to, it's a bulk, let's say it's a bulk export, it has never been registered, we have to go and do inspection. It's supposed to be about 20 days, but what we have seen is about 35 days, because we give corrective action, preventive action, or compliance directive. It may take a while for them to return it to us. So we are doing a lot now to facilitate export. We are talking more among agencies, with freight forwarders, all of them. We have been having meetings with them, that there is no shortcut. You think shortcut in Nigeria, there's no shortcut overseas. They will burn your product and add earned money. It's painful for me to know that people trying to export and the product gets rejected. So the last statistic we have is that the rejection is going down, meaning whatever we are doing is resonating somewhere. But for this yam thing, I have to talk with NEPC in terms of, because it cannot stay at the port for 2 weeks in a container where the temperature is almost 50 degrees inside that container. It will spoil.
That's true.
So it is our processor mostly, and it's not just one agency, it is multi-agency. I believe that that is already being expedited to reduce the time it takes before it gets on the sea. Over, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for that concise answer to Sunday Soyinka's question. I will now hand over to my chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Udeme Ukwe, for that brilliant session that you had there. And thanks once again to our special guest. Before I proceed, I need to let the whole world know that once again, as it's been happening since the beginning of this year, we have a couple of VVIPs who are always coming in just to check up on us to see how we're doing and to check up on our special guests. And first of all, I have, again, for the third time this year, which is a record for us, the chief, we have Right Honorable Femi Gbadabiamila, the chief of staff to the president, no less, in the conference on the conference. Thank you so very much, sir, for your presence alone. For me is I don't know how to describe it, because the fact that you are always taking up on us gives us the tonic to continue to do what we are doing, because that means that you appreciate what we are doing, and that is putting us on our toes to make sure that we don't disappoint you and we don't disappoint Nigeria. So thank you so very much for that, sir, for that. Again, we have our grand patron, the man of wisdom, whose wisdom I always like to share from. I'm going to give him a minute after introducing all of them for him to give us another word of wisdom again, as he always does. His chief, Babatunde Ogala, SAN, is the senior counsel to Mr. President. Thank you so very much, sir, for always having our back, and especially for your words of encouragement that you give to us, which is one of the fillip that keeps us going. And we also have, I've been to this man's office in the villa sometime last year. He is the protocol officer as the director of protocol to the president, is Dr. Niniola. Thank you so very much, sir. You see, I can't thank you guys enough because your presence on that program is takes us to a different level and makes us to know that we cannot afford to relent on our oars. We have to continue to do what we're doing for the benefit of this administration and our country. Thank you so very much, sir. So I don't know, maybe Grand Patron would like to say one or two things, as he always does. Can we please unmute Chief Babatunde Ogala, please, just to give us his words of wisdom just for a minute. Chief Babatunde Ogala, you have the floor now, sir. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay. Sorry, I've just been duly informed that he's having some kind of technical issues now. So maybe when that is resolved, then we'll bring him on. So we need to move on with sharply because we've spent about an hour and 27 minutes now, and we don't want to belabor our special guest. So I'm gonna hand over to Honorable Tosin. Honorable Tosin, you have the floor now. You can take the next 3 questions in quick succession. Then we yield the floor to our special guest to answer those questions. Honorable Tosi Olayinka, you have the floor now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, our host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. Thank you for all you do. And also, I would like to welcome our special guest, Professor Moji Adeyeye. We can tell that you are doing a fantastic job out there.
Yeah.
And we are not envying you because you're not doing a very easy thing. And all we can wish you and your team is a good success. Having said that, I would like to invite our participant to come over and ask their questions. The first person I'll be inviting is Obatunde Oladapo, and followed by Wale Tol. So, Obatunde Oladapo, you have the floor now. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, everyone. And Prof, good evening, ma. My name is Obatunde Oladapo. I'm not sure you remember me from Ibadan. I knew you through Dr. Gbadero. So,
Yes.
yes, ma. And Olawumi in Ogbomoso. Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Well, when you were appointed as the DG of NAFDAC, that day I saw the news. I laughed and laughed and laughed. I said, once it's down, once it care of. Meaning that they are in trouble because I know the stuff they are made of now. So we are proud of you and we're not disappointed at your performance so far now. Now, I started getting more involved on issues around fake drugs, serious drugs, counterfeits, and all that during the time of when late Dr. Dora Queenie was the Minister of Information, when we had a program with the International Alliance of Patient Organizations in Abuja, and I became aware of the enormity of the problem that we have in our society. Then in 2013, I was involved with NAFDAC, and I realized that the good work that Professor Akwili had done was being messed up by the then DG of NAFDAC. That was in 2013, when we had issues with a local manufacturer of antiretroviral drugs. We fought the government of Nigeria in Nigeria and all the way to South Africa when Professor Oyebuchi was a Minister of Health. That's one aside. We missed an opportunity that time because a Nigerian company was manufacturing antiretroviral medicine. And it was a point for us to prove to the world that we could do it well. But they did a poor job of it. And we discovered that that drug was being manufactured without WHO pre-qualification. And it should have been an opportunity for Nigeria to be the hub of manufacturing of pharmaceutical products for the West and Central African market, but we missed that opportunity. But one thing I want to suggest, Matt, as NGOs, we need to work together with you. We need to hype the awareness and information about your work in the communities to the nooks and crannies of Nigeria, because a lot of people don't even know what you are doing. And when they want to mess up your name, we are the ones that are supposed to be going everywhere to defend NAFDAC and what you are doing for Nigeria. We also feel that there's need for capacity building of those of us that are in the NGO sector, for us to be able to know what to say, how to engage, even have people more like NAFDAC champions, whistleblowers, and this issue of organic creams, educating people about the dangers of some of these things that people are doing unknowingly. And then
we lost him over there. Yeah, or probably must have exceeded the time allotted for him to speak. Okay, yeah, I would like to call on the next person here, Wale wallet all. But before that, I will want Engineer Bola Babarinde to get ready. So you'll be coming on shortly after Mr. Wale Tor. So Mr. Wale Tor, you have the floor now. Thank you.
It's muted. Okay. Oh, it's muted. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, loud and clear. You can go on, please.
Okay. Thank you so much for the presentation. My question revolves around the Scan to Verify app that was developed by the agency. My concern is that the app works on the packaging of the product or the drug, because it's possible that the packaging is right, but the contents remains wrong. So what is the agency doing to address this issue? I can have the hologram right, the Scan to Verify, we say, oh, this is a genuine product, but the content still remains a fake product or a substandard product. So what's the agency doing to address that issue? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Walito. I believe our distinguished guest will reply to your question shortly. May I call on Engineer Bola Babarinde? Engineer Bola Babarinde, you have the floor now.
Yeah, thank you very much, host. Thank you, madam, for coming on board. I have a comment. The comment is, how are you being protected? Because this is, you are tackling dangerous satanic people. Your protection is very, very important, and you must take it very serious. We are praying for you, no doubt, but you must protect yourself, because these guys can go to any land. Look at only the time of Dora Akili. She was nearly killed. That will not be your portion. I just want to, tell you that Nigerians are behind you. We in diaspora were behind you, and we're praying for you. But take that thing very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Babarinde. All right, ma, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olayenka. Response to Mr. Oladapo is right about NAFDAC and NGO having stakeholder, we having a stakeholder meeting with them. And the example that he gave about the antiretroviral drug that was mishandled in 2013, manufacturing rather, that was mishandled in 2013, is unfortunate. Before I joined NAFDAC, my primary research area was antiretroviral drug, especially for children, because Nigeria has the highest number of children with HIV, and up to 2017, only 1 out of 10 children were receiving treatment. Up till last year, May or so, 3.5 out of 10 are receiving medicines. That was where the path of myself and Mr. Oladapo crossed, because I had an NGO in Nigeria at that time. And my aim was to make sure that medicines are available for children. So this example that he gave about 2013 being a debacle is unfortunate, but leadership is extremely important. And solid foundation is also important, because he mentioned pre-qualification. To go through pre-qualification or to attain pre-qualification takes a lot of steps, aside from just registering the product. Why so? Most of our products that we make in Nigeria are generics. The one that I made as a professor was 3-in-1 combination of already existing product. However, for generics, whether it's generic or near generic or whatever, there should be what is called bioequivalence, meaning whatever the absorption, distribution, elimination profile is for the innovator, it should be similar to the generic. However, at that point in NAFDAC history, it wasn't a good story at all. That is why I started with building a solid foundation, being tough in terms of regulations, in terms of international standards. We cannot do a shortcut. The life of somebody depends on it. The trade, our trade depends on it. So what happened in 2013 was just a symptom of a system that, an establishment that didn't have a solid foundation. I'm sorry to say. But comparing to the passion that Professor Akunyili gave, if she was there, she would have pulled it through because of the passion. However, even at that point, there was no fundamental foundation, which is built on global benchmarking, comparing ourselves with others, not comparing ourselves with ourselves, which is what we have been doing for the past 7 years now, comparing ourselves with the best. That was what took us to maturity level 3. So now we have companies, well, one company actually, Swiffer, that has 2 products pre-qualified. First in West Africa and Central Africa combined. So it is a systematic improvement in the part of the, on the part of the industry, but it depends on the strength of the regulatory agency too. He also mentioned capacity building. I've taken that down. I will connect with him in terms of, you know, interacting more with NGOs because right now, okay, we don't know how PEPFAR is going to function. They are in charge of antiretroviral drugs. And that's the problem that I said at the beginning. We became so addicted to donation that we lose our sense of where we are going. Now that if PEPFAR goes down, what of all the patients that are on antiretroviral? We have the capacity to manufacture. However, the R&D that goes into especially complex products is not there. And that's part of what we are developing, right from inside NAFDAC and spreading it to academia, spreading it to companies. We now have workshops where we bring students, upperclassmen students, very smart students, and their professors to join that workshop free. We bring manufacturers to join that workshop free. It's because we ask for donation. It's not because NAFDAC has the money. And some international bodies will be interested in making sure capacity building is there, especially if that money is going to be spent well. So we're going to do some of the things that Mr. Oladapo suggested. Mr. Wale Tol, about scan to verify. NAFDAC is the leading country in Africa in terms of GS1-driven barcoding technology to monitor products in the market. We use it to monitor all our vaccines, COVID-19 vaccines that came into the country. We have the traceability information system where if you type Moderna batch 2 that came February or whatever, it will just glow on the map of Nigeria where that particular batch was distributed. So in terms of digitization, about 70% of our processes are digitized. However, what he's talking about scan to verify, homegrown development of different apps. That is the capacity that we have in Nigeria. I believe in human capital. And it's not because of you are senior, you are DD, or you are AD. If you are RO2 and you have wherewithal, I would tap on you. That is exactly what is happening. That was what led to us leading Africa in traceability. That is why we have developed scan to verify. But his question is very, very genuine. We do secondary packaging, QR code or barcode on the secondary packaging. However, if somebody puts bad medicine in a good package, how did they get the package, first of all? How did they get the barcode? It is difficult to get the barcode because it's already embedded in our own system. But part of what was discussed when we were building this up during the pandemic is the barcode is horizontal, but if we use QR code, it's smaller. It can occupy smaller space on the primary package, which is the bottle of medicine or whatever. You know, that's the primary. And then the secondary is where those bottles went. And then the big box is the tertiary. Part of what we are thinking of is actually putting barcode on the primary package, aside from the secondary package. But as it is right now, to falsify that barcoding will be very difficult because we belong also to a global group. And NAFDAC and Rwanda are the countries that are playing big in that global group. That if you try to tweak anything in that system, we're going to see it. But his comment is very logical, very genuine. And then, Mr. Babanide, thank you so much for your advice. I know that, and I believe that the government is doing something about it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Thank you very much, our distinguished guest, for responding to all concerns very well, especially from our participants. On this note, I would like to yield the floor back to our chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Tony Olayinka. We have so many hands up still, and yet we have only 17 minutes to go. Because like you all know, we only have 2 hours to do this program. And because special guests are very busy people, sometimes it takes us months to be able to get them onto this program. And most of the time, they have to yank themselves off from other official engagements for them to be with us. So we don't always like to belabor them. So 2 hours, as far as we're concerned, will be 2 hours. So if at the end of the 2 hours, your questions are not, you are not being asked to ask the question, please don't be offended. We have the chat room for you to please put in your questions with your details, emails, telephone numbers, and your name. We will pass it on to our special guest who will then respond to it and respond to you directly. So we'll move on now. Like I said, we have only now 16 minutes now to go. So we'll try as much as possible to cramp in as many questions as we can. But please, like we said, you only have 1 minute. Make sure you pack your question into that 1 minute so that you will give other people the chance to ask their own questions. So I'll be yielding floor to another co-host now. Will be Honorable Ogusheye. You will take another three questions. Then we'll move on to the next co-host. Honorable Ogusheye, you have the floor now. 3 questions, and we yield the floor to our special guest to answer those 3 questions in one go. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola, I honor you. I thank you for the opportunity, sir. I want to thank our guest today, Professor Moji Adeyeye. Thank you for coming. Before I come to the people on this Zoom platform, I have some questions on Facebook as well, because we have hundreds of people watching us from that platform as well. There's a question from Prince Ochuko Okinedo in the comment section. He said, in the first place, he acknowledged NAFDAC and DG for doing a good job. Then my question to the DG is, what is NAFDAC doing to engage the NGF, that is the Nigerian Governors Forum, to ensure the establishment of the coordinated mega drug distribution wholesale channels across the country, at least one in each geopolitical zones? Thank you. That's the first question from him on Facebook. I will now go to, I'll come back to the Zoom, and I will ask Idioma to unmute, and then please ask your question, please.
All right, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. My question, first of all, is on the import duty that Professor mentioned earlier, the zero import duty. So this month, we are in March already. It's this month to make it 8 months since it was gazetted, and it's yet to be implemented. So I want to know, when exactly is the zero import duty going to be implemented, and why has it been delayed this long? And secondly, is also close to the cosmetics issue that the first person raised. But my own is from the angle of supplements. We have a lot of young people now who augment the organic products they use with supplements and vitamins, and those things are readily available in supermarkets and pharmacies. So what is NAFDAC doing? People are coming down with, it's like we have an epidemic of it, and people coming down with kidney failures and things like that related to excess supplements and vitamins. Is there anything NAFDAC is doing in order to, I don't know, make the drugs more regulated so that only the people that need it can actually get it? Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ijoma. I quickly go to Dr. Godwin Oyedele and then Sam Mbatukusu. Please get ready. Dr. Godwin Oyedele, please. Your question.
Thank you very much. I join millions of Nigerians in congratulating NAFDAC under the guidance of Professor Mrs. Adeyeye. A quick one concerning the issue of counterfeits. As she elaborated, it appears Nigeria is having serious problem with counterfeits, particularly using the old technologies of hologram packaging and so on. I want to ask, is NAFDAC going to encourage the deployment or enlighten pharmaceutical companies to embrace other latest technologies, such as physical chemical identifiers that you mix directly with the drug, not just protecting the packaging now, but inside the drug, which are made of edible materials. That's just the first part. The second one is, it appears there's international conspiracy against Nigeria. Locally manufactured products, for some of them, cost more when you buy those ingredients. Some of those companies sell the ingredients, some raw materials, far higher than when you just use two and produce here. What their landed cost is $1. When you manufacture here, it will cost you $3 or $4. Is there anything that NAFDAC can do in terms of maybe regulation or policy to now? Because all the agencies abroad are working for their countries, just as NAFDAC is also doing for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Godwin. We quickly move on to Sam Mbatuku before we go back to our guest. Sam Mbatuku, can unmute, sir. Sam Mbatuku, are you there? Sam Mbatuku.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Sam. Okay, question is on the food, because all the while we dwell on pharmaceuticals and medicines, but I want to know if NAFDAC is doing something to regulate the preparation of foods in restaurants, hotels, to see whether they comply with good preparation process, and to make sure that right ingredients that are healthy are used in producing those foods. Most times, after going to a restaurant, people become sick. So I think NAFDAC could go into that area, because to concentrate more on medicine and drugs, but people are getting sick after consumption of unwholesome foods. What NAFDAC is doing to get those under NAFDAC control. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mbatuku. Next, we can go back to Prof, so that then we can there's some response to those questions, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ogunshoye. The forum you mentioned, I didn't hear that from the online Nigerian Governors Forum. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am. The questioner is asking if your agency can establish and the agencies and branches in at least each of the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria to aid the coordination and distribution of your work serially to help you.
Okay. Okay, actually, yes. I think I understand better now. We call it coordinated wholesale centers. That is what Kano did, where the open marketers now that are distributors, not patent medicine dealers. Patent medicine dealers are not supposed to aggregate. They're supposed to be in the community, like pharmacists or pharmacies in the community. But wholesale distributors in Kano open market were moved to coordinated wholesale center, the Kanawa wholesale center. Right now, the government identified Aba, Lagos, and Onitsha, 4. So the goal is to have another, Onitsha for South. Well, Onitsha is a special zone. So because we already have 2 in Southeast, to have 1 in South, 1 in Southwest has 1, Northeast, Northwest, and so on. But right now it is 4. Even the 4 that are there is only one that has been built. Lagos is working very hard to build their own. Aba is yet to start. Onitsha, through Governor Soludo, is trying to build their own. So, see geopolitical zones, yes. Because what we are doing now is just 3 markets today. There are other, not as big, but other markets that we'll be paying attention to. I hope I answered that question. For Ijoma, import duty and the executive order is taking long. I hear you. And I was at a forum about 2 months ago, and I spoke there that because it's delayed, I believe the president will extend that, I shouldn't say will extend, should extend that 2 years to after it has taken off. As of December, it hasn't taken off. That was when I mentioned what I mentioned. But I believe that, they will take that into consideration so that 2 years doesn't become a year or a year and a half. Because it was gazetted around November, and there were still things to tweak even in the gazette. We are now doing a tripartite arrangement where NAFDAC, Customs, and PVAC will certify that this company is genuine if it's our own regulated product, which is medicine or vaccines. So I know that very well. I shouldn't say I know. I'm sorry about that. I don't know. I believe that there will be an extension to take care of the 6 or 8 months before the thing took off. In terms of supplements or nutraceuticals, I'm sorry that, people are having, side effects and whatnot. We will need to do more sensitization now that research is showing that even supplements, if you take them in excess or take the wrong ones and whatnot, there may be health problems. So we will need to do that. We do NAFDAC and Your Health every Tuesday and Monday and Tuesday. We will put that there, but we cannot. It cannot be prescription only type of something because it is not grouped as a ethical product. And then for Mr. Oyediji, in terms of deployment of new technology, and I know what he's talking about, mixing an identifier with the matrix of where the medicine is. Yes, that has been presented to us. We needed more clinical trial. We needed to know that even the identifiers will not have any deleterious effect on the consumer. They have data on animals, unless there are more data since then. We asked them to make it more or show us more human studies. But in terms of technology, our traceability, scan to verify now, we're going to, that will be the in thing. We are scaling up because it's a huge market that we have, but that is another technology. Local manufacturers, product being costlier. Unfortunately, That's it. Local manufacturers to produce their electricity sometimes. They have to produce their water. It's tough in Nigeria. It is very, very tough. And this executive order is taking that into consideration, at least to take a chunk out of their pain through reduced removing of levies and custom duty and so on. But what you are saying in terms of international markets, yes, they have the technology, they have everything, electricity, water, cable and whatnot, ready to go. So it can be cheaper there. But when we keep at it, this type of executive order, hopefully it will even be extended. We make things to go cheaper, to become cheaper, but it will also capacitate us to do better. So we cannot stay still and say, oh, it's going to be too costly, we're not going to buy local. The government also may be supplementing to help manufacturers. Maybe supplementing, we've been talking about that at a different forum. So then in terms of food, well, we have a Food Safety and Applied Nutrition Directorate, and we have stakeholders meeting for hoteliers, where we educate them about fat. We have a new law now, new regulation about trans fats. We have a lot of dialogue with our hoteliers and stakeholders about low sugar, low sodium. We are doing all this. Maybe we should do it more to let people know on our NAFDAC and Your Health, and the NAFDAC and Your Health, both TV and radio, so that people will know. Because what we eat can kill us, but what we eat can also be medicine for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma, for the time. I think it's almost 5 o'clock here, 6 o'clock in Nigeria. Anyway, let me hand over to my to the chief host, Mr. Ambassador J.K. Adeyeye. Please, you have the floor, sir. We still have so many people who have their hands up. I don't know how you want to give them, sir. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you so very much, Honorable Buche. This is a tough one for me at the moment, but I have to make a decision somehow. Yes, I said we don't want to belabor our special guest, and we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hands up still. I think what I'm just have to make a very tough decision now to allow just 2 more questions to be asked, so that and they have 1 minute each to ask those questions. And every other person that has their hands up, please bear with us, because like we said, VVIPs, they have to jettison so many pressing engagements for them to spend 2 hours with us. So I don't want us to take liberty for license. So that's why we always like to stick to those 2 hours, to ensure that when next we can knock on their doors, they'll come on to answer us. But then the chat room is open for anybody who does not have the opportunity to ask their questions today. You can go into the chat room. It's like I said earlier on, put in your question, your name, your telephone number, or even your email if you prefer to be responded to that way. We will forward those questions to our special guest, who will then respond directly to you. So now I'll be yielding the floor to another co-host now, who will be taking 2 questions from those hands that we have up. And so I'm going to be calling Hajia Rekia Bello Abubakar. Hajia Bello Abubakar, you have the floor now.
Ambassador J.K. Adeyeye, distinguished guests today, you're very welcome to the program. Thank you, ma'am, for the very detailed analysis, and God will protect you. We're all praying for you, ma'am. I've got 2 people whose hands are up. Because of time, please let's keep it at 1 minute, please. Thank you. The first person is Ojo. Are you there?
Thank you very much, Ajay, and thank you so much to the organizers. Just a quick one, and thank you to the professor. I wanted to bring your awareness to specialized medicines and medical devices that are being imported into the country by healthcare professionals in the name of special medicines and all of that, but would still get to find their way into distribution and sales in the market. Is the agency doing something to make sure that some of the specialized medicines and medical devices still have to go through all of the required registration processes that are needed, and making sure that these products are from veritable sources and also do what they are supposed to do? Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Ojo. And next is Jide King. Please come aboard with your question. Thank you. Are you there, Mr. Jide King? Is there a technical issue?
I'm there. I'm trying to unmute. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, chief host and co-host. And then good evening, our special guest, Professor Adeyeye. Let me start by saying that your opening is just a manuscript for a book already. So please consider writing a book, Your Life and Times at NAFDAC, Nigeria. Now my question, most of the videos of your raids on both Idumota, Onitsha, Aba markets, they are high-profile videos that is reflecting that people, the unseen hands in this business are big people in society, billionaires. What is most, surprising, or my question will be, how much are you collaborating with the law, the attorney general, the legal people, the justice system? Because we have seen so much video, but there has not been any name and shame. This is the time to do name and shame. Until we do name and shame, we can see beautiful videos, we can see all the things you are saying, but there's no deterrent. There must be deterrent. There's nothing to deter anybody. We see all the boys, the shop boys, the apprentices, they are crying, they are being harassed on video. But who are the people behind it? Nobody. We are not hearing about going to court. We are not hearing about anybody going to jail. That's my own question. Let's hear. Let's know how far you are getting support from the government. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. I'll now yield the floor to our special guest. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ajia.
You're welcome.
Yes, for Mr. Ojo's question about specialized medicines or medical devices, we call them service drugs or service medical devices. They finding, such finding themselves into the distribution supply chain. Our service medical devices or service medicines are not supposed to be distributed. They are supposed to be for practitioners, for community practice pharmacists that has orders from people and we dispense directly to such people. But we have had few cases of such being distributed, and we have fined them heavily because they are not supposed to be distributed. If they want to distribute, they can register the product, and then they have their distribution chain. They will give us their distribution chain so that we can do good distribution practice inspection on them. For medical devices, it's a new area for us. It's actually post-pandemic, and we have done a lot of stakeholders engagements with both for medicines and for medical devices. It is a strict warning, they cannot be distributed. We find them being distributed, we find them heavily. That is what we are doing right now. For Mr. King, the high-profile videos, naming and shaming, you are right on the mark in terms of your concern. But we started this February 9. We have not even finished. We are finished in Idumota. We are finished in Aba. Just the enforcement aspect. We now have to go through reading them what they have done wrong legally and giving them documents for undertakings. They are not supposed to be where they are. Again, NAFDAC is not mandated to control sites. Pharmacy Council of Nigeria is mandated to control sites. So we are working with Pharmacy Council of Nigeria now. We have a long inventory of the shops that we have screened, shut down, that we are now opening to let them know what their violations are, because they have to know what they did wrong legally. Some have been arrested. They've been given bail, but we're going to go to court. In terms of naming and shaming, we're going to do that, not that, well, I don't know whether we're going to go on the TV and say Mr. A and Mr. B yet, because it's a court, it's a legal procedure. And we will be advised by our own legal people on how to handle. But we have our own enforcement process, where if it is court, we go through the courts. The deterrent has not been there because of the weak sanctions or weak fines that or sentences or whatever that the court gives. Again, the legislative have to redo, and they are doing that right now. The fines, the stiffer penalty that we want. But this is my own concern, that what you have expressed is my concern too. In advanced countries, you do the time, you do the crime, you do the time. In Nigeria, it's not that easy. But we have now seen cases where stiffer fines are being given, but not as much as we want. Somebody messed the life of a child. Somebody killed a child because of bad medicine. That person should get death penalty. Yeah. Will that happen? I don't know. The legislative has also supported that. If you put zero content in a medicine, so-called medicines, and a child dies, the person should get death penalty. So all these stiffer penalties will be there, but we have not finished. We have about 25% to do in Onitsha. And until we finish, we cannot make any announcements, or, we have to actually report to all concerned that this is what we got. And then we are working with NSA. This is what we got, and these are the things we suggested. What are the recommendations? But in terms of fines, oh my, they're going to get real fines. But in terms of name and shame, we don't know who are the big guns behind them, unfortunately, and they may not divulge. But we would use whatever information we have to make sure that there is deterrent, and there will be deterrent, because our country cannot continue this way. Over.
Thank you so very much, ma'am, for that elaborate responses to all the questions. Like I said at the beginning, I'm repeating again, you bowled me over with the way you responded to all the questions, and that gladdens my heart to know that the country is in safe hands with people like you at the helms of affairs, because we've been going through the doldrums for so many decades. I think it is only now that some of us have that assurance that we have people at the helm of affairs now who have the semblance of what responsibility that they hold, and they have the political will to go ahead with it. You have just demonstrated that now with all your questioning, especially the fact that, like other leaders that we had, you came on even before some of our participants came on. That shows, because my pastor used to say to me in church that your adherence to time will tell him the possibility of you succeeding in life.
Yes.
Because time is a very, very scarce commodity. And that's why I hate it when people talk about African time. What does that mean? I don't know.
That's right.
Because once that minute goes, that's it. So thank you so very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
I cannot thank you enough because you have become like a breath of fresh air for us. Because the way you tackled all the issues, right from the very minute that you started talking up until the last minute, you have never shied away from any question. You tackled every question from the beginning to the end. That again says a lot about how serious you have taken your responsibility. And that, I believe, has given us the assurance that as far as NAFDAC is concerned, we have somebody, which means I didn't call you Iron Lady for nothing. Oh, I was right for calling you the Iron Lady. So thank you so very much. So I don't know, before we close the session, maybe you still have maybe one or two things to say to Nigerians across the world regarding your activities and what we should expect from your agency. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will start actually from the presidency. The president signed a contract with the cabinet members for their performance. The minister signed a contract with me for my performance. I signed a contract with my directors for their performance. That is changing the paradigm in Nigeria. That is changing the paradigm. It is not about effort, it's about results.
Yes.
What can you show for all the time you have spent doing X, Y, and Z? So I want to say thank you to Mr. President for making that to happen. In terms of NAFDAC, we have started our own journey 7 years ago based on quality management system, and it's based on performance. We kept improving, and it's a continuous quality improvement every day, every year rather. And as an agency, there is a lot that we do. A lot of hazard. You mentioned it. And it's not just me alone, it's my staff. You go to do your work and then they almost kill you. You end up in the hospital. We have job hazard. We need more staff. We need more funding. 1,100 forces that we have to keep on the field since February 9. There is no money from anywhere except through NAFDAC. That is why, and we didn't know the gravity of what we're even getting into. So it's not like we have saved some money somewhere. So that is one thing that I want also for us to walk away with here, that a regulatory agency that has good leadership needs a lot of money to do XYZ. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, madam, for that. And I believe especially because we have the Chief of Staff to the President on this program,
okay.
the Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila is listening to you attentively, and I believe he will take that, because he's the eyes and the ears of the President. He will take all of this to the. Listen, I can vouch for the President anytime that he's a man who knows the way, as they say.
Yes.
Because I've said it on this program so many times that what he is doing now, which certain people are saying Ebi Power and all that nonsense, and I said, look, this man is doing what needed to have been done decades ago. But leaders before him shied away from doing what he's doing now for fear of the kind of blowback that he is getting now. But this man took it upon himself. He said, you know what? I have a legacy to leave behind.
Yes.
We'd rather do it now, or the country will go down. And I guess perhaps he has promised himself that he's not going to allow Nigeria to go down under his watch. That's why he's doing it. That's why I keep saying to Nigerians, all we need is just perseverance, prayers, and patience. Because you cannot get to something without going through something. So if we're going through what we're going through now, it is to an expected end. I think that's what the scripture says. So we just have to have that, especially now. I bless God now that now all the things that he's been, all the policies that he's been churning out, which people says has been giving them hardship, blah blah blah, is beginning to yield results now.
Yes.
Less than 2 years when he came in, and I still remember his video, which we normally play on this program, where he says, "I can see the light at the end of the tunnel."
Amen.
I think his expression alone tells me a lot. That this is a man who is sure of himself. He knows what he's doing, and he's cocksure that what he's doing now, even though he's bringing a medium time discomfort to people, it is something that is necessary to be done for us to get to where we are meant to be. A woman cannot have a child unless she goes through what is it called? You are a woman, you understand what I'm talking about now.
Labor, unless you go through labor.
You have to go through labor. After that labor now and have a child, she forgets about the hardship. That is what the country is going through now. So that's why I keep saying to people, just persevere a little bit more. Where we are going is shorter than where we are coming from.
Yes.
Are we where we were a few years ago? No, hell no. But then we are heading somewhere. So we need to just persevere and continue to pray for our leaders. Yes. Because trust me, they need our prayers. They really do. Because like you, because of what you are doing now, imagine the kind of pressure you're going through now. So people are threatening your life for you trying to make the country better. So you see, so this is what it's all about. So thank you so very much for spending the time to be with us. We appreciate it so very much. So before as we are about to close now, I'm probably going to call on Haji Adekia to give us a closing remarks. Then I'll come back and talk to us more. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
Haji Adekia, you have the floor now. Haji Adekia.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm here. Sorry about that. Thank you very much, ma'am. It's so nice to have you with us today. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where we come to the end of a very interesting event. Many thanks to our special guest, Professor Moji Adeyeye, for coming to enlighten us on the impressive and productive, remarkable work of your agency, ma'am, despite your very busy schedule. Thank you also to our participants who joined us from across the world. Join us again next time when we bring you another exciting event. On behalf of the Renewed Hope Global Virtual Town Hall Conference team, have a great weekend. And Ramadan Mubarak to our Muslim brothers and sisters. God bless Nigeria.
Amen.
Thank you so very much, Hajia, for that closing remarks. Once again, I have to thank our special guests for, you see, I keep saying to people, you guys in government, you have this crazy schedule that it takes people like us who engage with you to understand where you're coming from. So that is why I say to people, when you have your hands up and we don't call you, you have to understand these people have crazy schedule, and if they can spare 2 hours to be with us, we just have to respect them to make sure that we don't belabor them too much, because all we know, our special guest probably have another meeting straight away now. We've seen a special guest who, right from when she finished with us, she took us on a journey to another meeting. She was filming us while she went to another meeting. So that tells us how busy you guys are. So for that, we will remain eternally grateful, because so far so good. Since we started this program, every week we knock on your doors. You always open the doors for us, which says a lot about the kind of caliber of people that the president have in his cabinet. Thank you so very much, madam. And
thank you, sir.
I say, God bless you. And God, and I will continue to put you in my prayers every day for God's protection.
Thank you.
They may try, but they will not succeed.
Amen.
Regarding the death threat on you, they will never succeed, because you are doing a wonderful job securing the whole country. It's not easy. 230 million people. It's not easy. So God bless you, ma. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
So on that note, people, again, let me just apologize again to our participants for those who have their hands up and we've not been able to call you because, like I said, we have 2 hours for this program, and these people that the VVIP that we invite, they have a very, very busy schedule. So every time they oblige us to come to us here, we don't like to belabor them too much. So that is why when it is 2 hours, we just like to let them go. For instance, now today is 2 hours 22 minutes that she's been with us. So I think it's only fair for us to allow them to have some respite, maybe to go to other engagements that they have. So for anyone, for any participant who still have their hands up, I believe you have 1 or 2 things that you want to ask, which is your inalienable rights. Please go to our chat room and put down your questions with your details, your name, either your telephone number or your email address, and we will pass it on to our special guest, who will then respond back to you in like manner. Again, once again, thank you so very much. We appreciate you guys for always being there week in, week out. It's not easy. Even for us doing the program, it's not easy doing it every week. And for you two coming on board every week, it is not easy. We don't take your support lightly. Thank you so very much. God bless you. A couple of takeaways that we have here, does. Number one, when our special guest took over on November 30th, 2027, she met on assumption 3.7 billion naira debts, with none of their directors have a laptop, and she has been able, within the few years she's been there now, to turn all of that around. Thanks to our president, President Tinubu, who assisted her to ensure that all the necessary paraphernalia of office that she needs to perform her duties are being provided for her, and she started rebuilding from bottom to up, and that says a lot. From when she took over to where they are now, she now has enough officials now to go around and ensure that Nigerians are not served with illicit and dangerous drugs anymore, which has now led to closure of certain shops, both in Aba, in Onitsha, and even in Lagos as well. For me, that says a lot about the caliber of the woman that we have at the helm of affairs in NAFDAC, which means all she cares about is the security and the safety of Nigerians, and I think she deserves our support and our prayers, especially now that she's facing some death threat because of what she's doing. She's doing what she's doing to ensure that our people, I live in the UK, but I have people back in Nigeria, and I don't want them to die from using fake drugs. So so that's why I consider what she's doing as a very good job in safeguarding our people back home. So I believe she deserves the prayers and the support of every Nigerian across the world. In your supplications every day, morning, afternoon, night, please let us pray for her, so that the agents of darkness whose stock in trade is making money by all costs, at all costs, not minding whose ox is God, not minding whose life is destroyed in the process. We have them all across the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria, but she has taken it upon herself now to ensure that she does not allow them to reign supreme anymore in our country. So she deserves our support. So please help us to pray for her. There are so many other takeaways here, which I don't want to bore you with, but that will come up in my thank you message tomorrow in the morning. Watch out for that, and again, watch out again for our next VVIP that we will be bringing for next week. In the next couple of days, we will be posting that on our social media platforms. But and again, I advise you, once that is out, please make sure that you help us to share it to both family, friends, and even your enemies, because sometimes you need to get them into the fray for them to understand what you are doing, and so that they can begin to see the goodness in our country. Because as far as I'm concerned, Nigeria is the best country in the world, and it's unique for its own reasons. And for me, I swear by my country, and I always pray that God bless Nigeria, God bless the president, and God bless every Nigerian wherever they are across the world. So on that note, we are drawing the curtain now, and I say thank you so very much. We will come back again next week with another VVIP to talk to us about the state of the nation. Thank you so very much, and God bless.
To greatness.
Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
To Nigeria, where the Electoral Commission has declared Bola Tinubu president-elect.
In the early hours on Wednesday, Bola Tinubu had been declared the winner of this election.
Of the APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Day one, hit the ground running.
From day one, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took some far-reaching decisions.
A dúpẹ́ torí pé Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí a wà nínú ìjọba àwa ara wa. Inú mi dùn kì í ṣe pé bóyá àwọn ológun ló ń darí wa lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí. Àgbọ̀nra wa yé. Ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tí mo kàn wò pé yẹ kí n sọ tó ń dùn wá gan ni pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwa tá a jẹ́ aráàlú tá a sí ní ipò àwọn òṣèlú tó ga à ń jìyà gan.
I pledge to Nigeria, my country, being faithful and committed to the economic development and prosperity of every one of you.
To me, Mr. President is quite a transparent book, an open book that people can see. Whatever they see him do, that's what he does in private. But what he does more is that he studies more late into the night and reviewing things and going through files and trying to think about ways he can get things going on well for our people to deliver on the promises he has made to Nigerians.
We have to make sure this country stay on the right path to succeed on behalf of over 200 million Nigerians. We willingly accepted the appointment. I accepted the mandate of the people. On behalf of delegated some of these powers to you to serve the country.
Nigerians are very hopeful people, and my message would be to keep hope alive and to have faith in this government, to have faith in the president who has his eye on the ball. He knows where he's going. The road may be rough.
Nigerians, don't look back. Look forward. Be hopeful, be assured that you have a country that cares about you, and you must care about the country.
I marvel at his genuineness and his desire, his depth of knowledge, and his capacity that shines through as to how to develop this country, and his love for Nigeria.
We win. We turn it around. There's a very good bright light at the end of the tunnel of hope, stability, and successful economic prosperity. Education is the tool to fight against poverty effectively. We are determined to ensure education is given the proper attention necessary for the country, including skill development programs. This is to ensure that no one, no matter how poor their background is excluded from quality education and opportunity to build their future. We are here because we are all educated and we are helped.
There are so many things that some of cynicals will say may be impossible. But in your dictionary of service, everything is possible and must be possible. We have the talent, you have the level of intellectual capacity to turn this country around.
There are some countries that have failed, there are some countries that have succeeded. But in your time, in our time, in my time, all of us must work together to succeed.
The Renewed Hope Global Virtual Town Hall Conference is rallying global support and insights for the administration's agenda with a belief that the journey is a shared one requiring sacrifice, belief and firm support from every corner of the country in bringing renewed hope and sustained progress to all Nigerians.
Let's unveil this.
The book, titled The Architect of Renewal, the Bola Ahmed Tinubu story, has 10 chapters written by 5 authors, chronicling the journey of a leader who reshaped political discourse and governance and offered a roadmap for the country's recovery and growth under his stewardship.
This book is a reassurance by the authors that, like John Maxwell said, a leader knows the way. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows the way and will tenaciously pursue and execute a Nigerian reform agenda to success. As we celebrate this evening, we ask Nigerians to maintain their faith and patience. Every reform and initiative is a step towards the brighter future we all envision. I am reminded of his firm belief that no matter how doubting